one of the things we've done, like we use Sales Law, for example, for our outreach. So one of the things we've done is we've created persona-based cadences. We've created different campaigns and cadences around, just like I mentioned, specific triggers. So persona-based triggers, different events. So that way, anybody, if someone's pulling a list, they can put it into one of those specific cadences, and then they can personalize the message within that. So instead of before, when I started the company, we just had one general campaign outreach cadence that people would put everybody into. And it was just, it wasn't personalized. It wasn't specific to that company or that person or trigger event. And so now we've created a portfolio of different outreach messaging. And then on top of that, built in a layer where the specific can then personalize stuff and add that into their messaging to better, hopefully, connect with the prospect. We did use Zoom Info, and we just switched to 6sense. I think just because 6sense has better intent data and trigger information. With Zoom Info, we had 12 different intent topics. With 6sense, there's unlimited, and we can customize it around our specific industry and business. So for us, one, we found the information to be more accurate than Zoom Info. Small business data, it's changing all the time. People change roles, they change positions. And with our RevOps team, when they compared the two, they found that 6sense had better accurate information. And then two, we just could create more customizable intent data that gives us more information that we can use to try to reach the right companies at the right time. But our SDRs, one of the things I think we're different than a lot of companies is they have to build their own lists. They have to find their own accounts. So they have to use 6sense and LinkedIn Sales Navigator to try to find what companies they're targeting, and then find personas within that, and then do their research to have relevant triggers or information they see that might make it relevant to reach out to that person or that company. Like some companies, I think that kind of lies under rev enablement, and they'll pull the lists and pull the accounts of personas, and then send those accounts or assign them to an SDR, and the SDR just focuses on the outreach and messaging. At JustWorks, we have them do both. So it's I guess a little bit more complicated from a teaching standpoint, and also for the rep to learn, but I think it's helps because it gets them owning the accounts that they are reaching out to and learning that skill set of how to identify, again, a specific company first, and then the leads or people you're going to contact within that company, and then starting to learn how to look at different triggers or intent or events that makes it relevant to reach out. I think that's a challenge for everybody. And I don't have a good answer for that. If somebody figures that out and can get accurate small business data that's better than the other tools out there, then I think that's a very good business model, but it's hard. Again, you know, it's different than enterprise level or mid-market where there's a lot of job changers. Sometimes small businesses open up and they close down a year later. And so I think that's a big challenge we face, is trying to find accurate data and information. And so far we looked at a few different tools and data providers out there and found 6sense to be more accurate than some of the other ones. I don't think it's a perfect tool yet or 100% accurate, but I think it's a challenge anybody in the SMB space has for sure. We teach people creative strategies as well. So like you said, I know some of our reps will do Google Maps in their territories and try to look stuff up that way. I think another way too, again, typically tech and startups and growing companies are great companies where we can really help and fit within our ICPs. Looking at VC companies and on their websites and exploring their portfolios, and finding companies that way are smart. Another way some of our reps have done, if they've joined small business forums or groups for tech startups and things like that, where it's like they can find different companies within those groups or people just that way. So I think there's some other creative ways to find some small businesses, and those are a few kind of, you know, we've had people use. We're in line with that. Yeah.
Right.
And then I think just trying to use multiple channels to try to get in touch with the prospect. So utilizing obviously cold calling, email, LinkedIn messaging, and trying to connect with the prospects. But yeah, I don't think there's anything crazy or different we're
Crazy, yeah.
doing there as far as from a campaign level. I think the big thing we teach is just try to be different, try to stand out, try to personalize your campaign outreach and your messaging and conversations to where it doesn't come across as spammy, and you've taken a little bit of time to do some research about the company and the prospect. I think that goes a long way in your outreach. And so it's like working harder and smarter at the same time. I think both are important.